When most people hear the name Mahindra, they immediately picture a heavy-duty, off-road machine tearing through dirt and rock. It's an image anchored by models like the rugged Thar, cementing their reputation as a builder of tough, reliable passenger vehicles. Viewing this brand solely through the lens of car manufacturing ignores the scale of their actual operations. Looking at this network map, you can see their true structure. That single corporate node branches out into a sprawling ecosystem of over 150 distinct companies, including 8 major publicly traded entities. They employ roughly 260,000 people across dozens of countries. The cars on the highway are highly visible, but they act as a front for a massive, highly diversified industrial empire, extending into nearly every corner of the economy. This scale of expansion requires time. The group's foundation was laid in 1945 by its founders, including Jagdish Chandra Mahendra, giving the company nearly 8 decades to compound its industrial growth. They used those decades to dominate ground mobility, eventually rolling out modern, technology-heavy passenger vehicles like the XUV 700, while investing heavily in the manufacturing infrastructure required for electric vehicles and commercial transport. These assembly lines also output massive quantities of tractors, making them one of the highest volume manufacturers of farm equipment on the planet. Supplying farm equipment taps directly into rural, foundational economies. These markets follow completely different growth cycles and demand curves than urban car buyers. By dominating both roads and farmland, they ensure their hardware is essential to the core human requirements of daily transit and food production. Building machines is capital-intensive. To sustain that physical output, they constructed a layer of invisible, high-margin services to run parallel to their factories. They established a dedicated financial services division, offering vehicle and housing finance. This effectively creates an in-house banking system that underwrites the purchase of their own heavy equipment and consumer goods. If you follow the flow on this chart, you see the physical vehicle and financial branches eventually connecting to global digital data networks. This represents Tech Mahindra, their dedicated IT consulting arm, which handles artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and enterprise cybersecurity. This digital division services external global clients, generating massive revenue streams that operate independently of the automotive division's performance. Operating their own finance pipeline and global digital architecture means they aren't tied exclusively to the low margins and supply chain bottlenecks of traditional manufacturing. Moving beyond hardware and data, their investments extend outward to influence long-term societal development and human lifestyle. Through their real estate division, Mahindra Lifespaces, they act as primary developers for massive residential complexes, commercial properties, and fully integrated industrial cities. They also maintain a vast footprint in the global leisure economy, operating expansive resort and vacation networks under their hospitality brand, Club Mahindra. To secure the intellectual capital required to run all of these sectors, they established their own university system to train future engineers, business leaders, and entrepreneurs. They design the cities people live in, the resorts they visit on vacation, and the schools that train their workforce. They operate as architects of complete human ecosystems. These 3 layers, physical, digital, and societal, lock together into a model of extreme corporate diversification. If a crisis hits physical manufacturing, that inner ring contracts, but the digital and real estate layers continue generating steady cash flow, stabilizing the structure. This overlapping strategy creates a self-sustaining loop. Volatility in one specific industry is absorbed and subsidized by steady growth in the others. Managing over 150 separate companies functions as a strategic defense mechanism, shielding the core enterprise from localized economic failures. Seeing their logo on a car represents the visible tip of an unbreakable, globally diversified economic iceberg.